I was packing my bags for our family trip to California when my phone buzzed. The message from my daughter made my heart stop. Dad, you're not coming with us. Kevin thinks it would be better if you stayed home. They left me behind and took his parents instead. This is after I bought them their dream car just last month. So I did something that changed everything. You won't believe what happened when they returned. Before we start, please hit that subscribe button and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. I was folding my favorite Hawaiian shirt when the notification sound echoed through my bedroom. The bright blue fabric reminded me of the ocean waves we planned to see in San Diego. My suitcase sat open on my bed like a window to adventure, filled with summer clothes and swim shorts. The weather app showed perfect sunshine in California, ideal for the beach walks I've been dreaming about. I hummed an old Beatles song while choosing between my canvas sneakers and flip-flops. The plane tickets lay on my dresser next to my driver's license, both ready for our early morning flight. Just 8 hours until takeoff. My chest felt that familiar mix of excitement and nervousness that comes before any big trip. The phone buzzed again with Emma's name lighting up the screen. I set down my shirt and grabbed the device, expecting last-minute packing tips or gate information. Instead, words appeared that made my world crumble. Dad, change of plans. You won't be joining us in California. Kevin believes this vacation should be just for his immediate family. I read it once, then twice, then 3 times, hoping the letters might rearrange themselves into something different. The swim shorts in my hands felt suddenly heavy as my brain tried to process this message. Immediate family. Those words echoed in my mind like thunder. I was her father. I had planned every detail of this trip. I researched the best restaurants, booked the hotel rooms, printed maps of theme parks during countless evenings of preparation. What did immediate family mean when you were talking to your own dad? I sat down hard on my bed, the open suitcase mocking me with its hopeful contents. My fingers shook as I typed the only response I could manage. Understood. The weight of rejection settled in my chest like a rock. I looked around my bedroom, seeing everything I had prepared for a trip that would never happen. The new sunscreen bottles lined up on my nightstand. The guidebooks with colorful bookmarks showing places we planned to visit together. The expensive camera I bought just for this vacation, still sealed in its box. I closed my suitcase with slow, careful movements. Each zipper pull sounded final in the quiet room. Then I called the airline, listening to elevator music while waiting to cancel my reservation. The customer service person was kind but professional. "Sorry about your change of plans, Mr. Rodriguez," she said, and I wondered if my disappointment came through the phone. Later, I sat in my living room, staring at the vacation brochures spread across my coffee table. The house felt quieter than normal, empty in a way that made my thoughts echo. Outside, Mr. Garcia's rooster crowed at something in the distance, the sound sharp and lonely in the Phoenix heat. I picked up a brochure about Disneyland, its colorful pictures now seeming like fairy tales, and placed in a pile on the side table. Evening came with the same hollow feeling that had filled my house all day. I'd moved through the hours like a sleepwalker, leaving my dinner plate unwashed instead of cleaning it right away like I always did. The packed suitcase still sat by my bedroom door, a constant reminder of dreams that wouldn't come true. The television played from the living room. Some cooking show I wasn't really watching. I kept picking up my phone for no reason, scrolling through nothing important. Restless energy made my fingers tap against the screen. Maybe Instagram would distract me from the empty feeling in my stomach. I scrolled past Mrs. Lopez's flower photos, recipe videos from my book club friends, news posts I didn't want to read. The familiar glow of the screen felt comforting in the growing darkness of my living room. Then I saw it. Kevin's parents standing in front of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Both of them smiling at the camera with that satisfied look of tourists who'd found the perfect photo spot. The caption read, "Starting the most amazing family road trip ever." The timestamp showed it was posted just 1 hour ago. My thumb froze above the screen. Maybe they'd taken a different trip. Maybe this was an old photo they just decided to share. My heart started beating faster as I clicked on the profile to see more pictures. There it was. Same location, same time, but this photo included 4 people. Kevin's parents, Kevin and Emma, all gathered together in front of a seafood restaurant, with ocean waves visible behind them. Emma's caption made my stomach drop. So grateful for family time by the beautiful Pacific Ocean. I counted the faces in the photo with trembling fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. The word family burned in my mind like fire. I set the phone down on the coffee table, its screen still glowing with their happy faces. I stood up and walked to the kitchen window, looking out at my neighbor's house where warm light shone from the windows. Families together for the evening. The betrayal hit me in waves, each one stronger than the last. I picked up the phone again, hoping I'd misunderstood somehow, hoping the photos would tell a different story. But they were still there, time-stamped still fresh, their smiles still bright and carefree. The 4 of them together in the city I dreamed of visiting, enjoying the vacation I planned, following the itinerary I'd researched. I walked back to the kitchen window and saw my own reflection staring back at me, pale and hollow-eyed. Behind my reflection, the phone screen showed their group photo, their happiness overlaid with my lonely image in the glass. The contrast was harsh and painful, a visual reminder of exactly where I stood in their definition of family. I'd barely slept, tossing and turning while images of their vacation photos played behind my closed eyelids. Morning came with bright sunlight streaming through my bedroom curtains, and I knew I needed answers. I couldn't let this stand without understanding why. My coffee cup trembled slightly in my hands as I sat at the kitchen table, practicing what I would say to Emma. The time difference meant it was late morning in California, perfect for a call. I took a deep breath and dialed her number, listening to the expensive-sounding long-distance ringtone. 2 rings, 3 rings, then her voice, cheerful and relaxed. "Hi, Dad." I could hear background noise. Kevin's voice. Ocean sounds. The bustling atmosphere of a beach town. "I need to understand something," I said without small talk. "What's that?" She sounded distracted, probably looking at some monument or gift shop. "I saw the photos on Instagram. Kevin's parents are there with you." There was a pause, a long one that stretched like rubber. Then her voice changed, becoming sharp. "Dad, we can explain. You said it was immediate family only. What am I then?" Her tone shifted colder now, like ice forming over water. "Look, Kevin said you could be too much sometimes. He didn't want his vacation spoiled." The word too much hit me like a slap. Spoiled. I planned this trip. I booked the hotels. And Kevin's parents paid for their own rooms. They don't need us to take care of them all the time. All the time. The words hung in the air between us like an accusation. "I supported you both when you needed it," she interrupted. "We never asked for guilt trips." I could hear Kevin laughing in the background about something completely different, his voice carefree and unaware of our conversation. The sound made my jaw tighten. "Honestly, Dad," Emma continued, her voice getting harder with each word, "Kevin was right. You're too needy." The phone felt heavy in my hand. "I understand." "Good. We'll talk when we get back." "Understood." I hung up without saying goodbye. I set the phone down with careful control, the word needy echoing in my mind like a curse. I walked to my office, pulled by some instinct I couldn't name. The walls were covered with family photos. Me teaching Emma to ride a bicycle. Her graduation from high school. Her wedding day where I'd walked her down the aisle with tears of joy in my eyes. My hands slowly formed fists as I stared at these images of a relationship I'd apparently misunderstood completely. In one photo, I was holding baby Emma, both of us grinning at the camera. My reflection in the glass showed an older man, harder now, with something cold growing behind his eyes. I reached out and straightened the photo frame with careful, precise movements. The small action felt important somehow, like I was adjusting more than just a tilted picture. I stayed in my office after the call, surrounded by the evidence of what I thought was love, but was apparently just usefulness. Each photo on the wall told a story I was only now beginning to understand properly. The wedding photo where I walked Emma down the aisle. I'd paid $25,000 for that day. Every detail perfect, because I wanted her to be happy. The high school graduation picture. I covered her college expenses when Kevin couldn't find work after his own graduation. The car shopping photos scattered across my desk. I co-signed their auto loan when the dealers wouldn't approve them on their own. Christmas photos showed expensive gifts under trees I'd bought. Birthdays where my presents were open last, almost forgotten. Each memory added weight to my chest, a growing pressure that made it hard to breathe. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out bank statements and receipts I kept out of habit. The down payment for their new car, $60,000 from my retirement savings, money I'd saved for my own future. Insurance payments I'd taken over when Kevin lost his second job. Credit card bills I'd paid when they couldn't make ends meet. The vacation fund I'd been building for years, money that had bought their tickets to California. But it wasn't just the money. I remembered plans, sacrifices I'd made that went deeper than dollars. The fishing trip with old friends I canceled because Emma needed babysitting. The lady from my book club who'd asked me to coffee. I'd said no because Emma needed help with wedding planning. My own travel dreams postponed again and again while I supported theirs. Sunday dinners where Kevin barely spoke to me. Holiday gatherings where I felt like a stranger in conversations. The subtle ways he'd made me feel unwelcome in their lives while simultaneously accepting my financial support. The pattern was so clear now I couldn't believe I had missed it. My hands shook as I stacked the photos face down, unable to look at them anymore. The word needy played on repeat in my mind like a broken song. Suddenly, with startling clarity, I understood the difference between being loved and being useful. They'd never asked me to join their lives. They'd asked me to fund them. I stood up so fast my chair rolled backward and hit the wall. In the mirror above my desk, I saw someone who'd been taken advantage of for years, someone who confused generosity with love and received manipulation in return. The reflection showed a man who'd been patient and giving and trusting, and had been repaid with betrayal and dismissal. I opened my laptop and stared at my bank account screen, the cursor hovering over the authorized users section where both Emma and Kevin had access to my accounts. My finger trembled above the trackpad, one click away from changing everything. But I closed the laptop without clicking. The action suspended, tension building like a storm gathering strength. Some decisions required more than impulse. Some decisions required planning. I sat in the heavy silence of my office. The laptop closed before me like a door I wasn't ready to open yet. The weight of years of manipulation pressed down on my shoulders, and I found myself staring at the family photos I'd turned face down. The quiet house seemed to hold its breath around me. Then my phone cut through the silence with that familiar ping of my banking app. I almost ignored it, expecting another routine spam notification about account updates or promotional offers. But something made me pick it up. Maybe just a need for any distraction from the dark thoughts circling in my mind. The screen showed account alert, transaction process. I opened the banking app with my thumbprint, half expecting to see my monthly electric bill or grocery store charge. Instead, the transaction details loaded like a punch to the stomach. Sunset Beach Resort, San Diego, California. The timestamp showed 3 hours ago, right around their check-in time in California. My mind connected the dots with painful clarity. Emma had used my authorized user card. I'd given her emergency access years ago when she was struggling to build credit, back when I thought I was helping her become financially independent. The irony burned in my chest. They'd excluded me from their family vacation, but were using my money to pay for their fancy California resort. I scrolled through recent transactions with growing disbelief. Hotel charges, souvenir shops, amusement parks, all on my card, all while Kevin's parents supposedly paid their own way and didn't need us to take care of them all the time. I stood up, pacing around my office with the phone clutched in my hand. Every family photo on the wall looked different now, like evidence in a case I was finally beginning to understand. The phrase, "this is my chance," formed in my mind, clear and certain. I opened the card management section of the app, navigating to authorized users. Emma's name sat there in black digital letters, representing years of financial access I'd grant out of love and received manipulation in return. Another notification pinged on my screen. Beachside Boutique, $127. She was shopping while I sat alone in my house, processing their betrayal. That decided it for me. My finger hovered over the Remove User button for just a moment. Years of being a supportive father wore with a growing certainty that support and exploitation were different things. The confirmation screen appeared. Are you sure? This action cannot be undone. I selected yes, remove immediately. The screen confirmed authorized user access revoked. I felt my first taste of real control in years, a sensation both foreign and satisfying. I set the phone down on my desk with deliberate care, looking at my reflection in the dark computer screen. For the first time in days, a small smile crossed my face. I walked to my kitchen to make coffee, my movements more purposeful than they'd been since receiving that first devastating text. The coffee maker bubbled to life, and through my window I could hear my neighbor's sprinkler system starting up. Ordinary life continuing while my quiet revolution began. The next morning found me at my kitchen table, actually enjoying my coffee for the first time in days. The morning newspaper lay spread before me, and I was reading about local school board elections when my phone rang with aggressive persistence. The California number was one I recognized, and I checked the time, 7 a.m. here, which meant 5 a.m. in California. I let it ring twice before answering, no longer eager to please or worried about missing their call. "Good morning to you too, Emma," I said, hearing her sharp intake of breath on the other end. "Dad, what did you do to the card?" Her voice was immediately demanding. No pleasantries or concern for how I was doing. "I remove your access to my account." "Don't give me that." I tried to pay for breakfast, and it was declined in front of Kevin's parents. The waitress had to come back 4 times. It was humiliating. The shrillness in her voice could have broken glass. "That must have been embarrassing," I replied, taking another sip of my coffee. "Embarrassing? It was mortifying. You can't do that. I need that card." "For what?" "I thought you didn't need me taking care of you all the time." "That's completely different." Her voice was getting higher with each word. "Is it?" There was a pause, and I could hear muffled conversation in the background before she came back with venom in her voice. "You fix this right now, or there will be consequences." "What kind of consequences?" "Kevin and I have been talking. When we get back, we're looking into assisted living facilities." My coffee cup paused halfway to my lips. "Assisted living facilities? You're getting older, Dad. You obviously can't handle your finances responsibly." The cruelty in her tone was breathtaking. "We'll sell your house to pay for it. You don't need all that space anyway." I heard Kevin's voice in the background. "Tell him it's for his own good." "Kevin says it's for your own good." I sat in long silence, processing these threats. They wanted to institutionalize me and sell my home because I'd stopped funding their vacation spending. The audacity was staggering. "Dad, are you listening? Restore my card access." I heard every word. "Good. So you'll fix it." "No." "What do you mean, no?" "I mean, no. Enjoy the rest of your family vacation." "Dad, don't you dare." I hung up and set the phone face down on the table. My hands were steady as I took a long sip of coffee, looking out my kitchen window at my well-maintained yard. This house I'd lived in for 25 years, paid off in full, with my name alone on the deed. The house they thought they could sell to warehouse me somewhere convenient. I stood up with new purpose, leaving my coffee unfinished, and walked toward my home office with determined steps. There was work to be done. I pulled my car title from the filing cabinet, spreading it across my desk like a battle plan. But it wasn't my own car I was studying. It was a second vehicle document, the one for Emma and Kevin's luxury SUV on Maple Drive. My name alone on the title, just as it had been since I bought it for them. I remember the conversation 1 year ago, just for the loan approval. "Sweetie, we'll transfer it to our names once everything's settled." They'd been too busy with their lives to handle the paperwork, always promising to get around to it next month, next season, next year. I found Roberto Silva's business card in my desk drawer. He'd sold me both vehicles, a trustworthy man who understood discretion. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. The drive to his dealership took me through familiar Phoenix streets. Mrs. Martinez waved from her garden, as I backed out of my driveway. Her friendly gesture a reminder of the ordinary morning this appeared to be. 15 minutes later, I parked at Silva Auto Sales, housed and converted warehouse that Roberto had modernized with obvious care. Roberto looked up from his computer as I entered, surprise and pleasure crossing his features. "Gary, good to see you. How's retirement treating you? I need to sell the Maple Drive vehicle. Quickly." He paused, his experienced eyes reading something in my expression. "The SUV you bought for Emma. Is everything all right?" "Everything's fine. I just need it sold. What's the market like?" Roberto turned to his computer, pulling up comparable sales with professional efficiency. "Market's strong right now. Vehicles like that, in that condition, maybe 45,000, 50,000. The number hit me with satisfaction. I'd paid 38,000 1 year ago. "How quickly are we talking?" Roberto asked. "As soon as possible. Price it to move." He pulled out selling paperwork, vehicle inspection schedules. His movements practiced and reassuring. "We'll need to detail it, maybe some touch-up work. I could have my team there tomorrow." "The vehicle is currently being used." "Oh, will Emma be handling the showing?" "Emma's in California. I have spare keys." Roberto looked slightly confused, but professionally accepting. We discussed selling price, commission, transfer timelines. I signed the selling agreement, my signature firm and decisive. "I'll start advertising immediately," Roberto said. "In this market, we could have buyers within days." We shook hands, and I appreciated his professionalism, the way he asked no unnecessary questions. Walking back to my car, I felt lighter than I had in days. The country music from my radio filled the silence as I drove slowly through downtown Phoenix, seeing my hometown with new eyes. At a red light, a young family crossed the street, father carrying a baby, mother pushing a stroller. I remembered when Emma was that age, before everything became about money and manipulation, and what I could provide rather than who I was. I pulled into my driveway and sat for a moment, looking at my mailbox with Rodriguez painted on it in faded letters. The name felt different now, like it meant something again. I walked up my front steps, keys jingling in my hand, a sound that promised more changes were coming. Inside my house, I opened my laptop to find an email notification from the auto listing service. "Vehicle listed successfully" appeared on the screen, and I felt a surge of satisfaction seeing those words. But there was more work to be done. I opened a new browser tab and searched Moving Services Phoenix, Arizona. Large corporate companies filled the first results, but I scrolled past them looking for something personal and reliable. I found Tony's Reliable Moving, a small operation with excellent reviews, family-owned for 12 years, the kind of business where you talk to the owner, not a call center. I dialed the number, hoping for exactly that. "Tony's Moving. This is Tony." The voice was deep, straightforward, no corporate script. "I need help moving some belongings tomorrow. It's a time-sensitive situation." "What kind of timeline are we talking about?" "Tomorrow morning, if possible. It's a full apartment worth of items." "Where are we moving from and to?" Tony asked. I gave him Emma's address, explaining that everything needed to go to storage. "Storage unit lined up?" he asked, and I realized I needed to arrange that too. "I can recommend Desert Storage on Central Avenue," Tony continued. "Work with them all the time. Want their number?" Within minutes, I had Maria from Desert Storage on a 3-way call discussing logistics. "For a full apartment, you want at least a 10 by 15 unit," Tony advised. "First month paid in advance." "That's $130, Maria added. "I'll take it. Could someone meet us there tomorrow?" Back on the phone with Tony, we finalized the details. "My truck and 2 guys. We can start at 7 in the morning. What's the address again?" I provided Emma's Maple Street address, adding, "The residents are out of town. I prefer to have everything done before they return." "Understood. Family situation." Tony's tone suggested he'd navigated these waters before. "Something like that. Been there myself. We'll be efficient and respectful." After ending the calls and paying for storage online, I made myself dinner with an appetite I hadn't felt in days. I set my alarm for 5:30 in the morning, earlier than my usual retirement schedule, and laid out work clothes, my old jeans and boots from my construction days, before I had become someone who funded other people's dreams instead of pursuing his own. I sat in my living room watching the evening news with different attention. The weather forecast promised clear skies, perfect for moving. Everything was falling into place with precision that felt both satisfying and inevitable. That night, I double-checked that my phone was charging, setting it on my nightstand next to a glass of water. In the bathroom mirror, brushing my teeth, I saw someone I barely recognized. Someone ready for action. Someone who'd stopped waiting for permission to take control of his own life. I arrived at the Maple Street property at 6:45 in the morning, 15 minutes early, as was my habit. The familiar apartment building looked different to me now. Not my daughter's home, but simply a property that needed to be cleared. Tony's moving truck was already parked outside, engine running, exhaust visible in the crisp morning air. Tony emerged from the cab as I pulled up, a sturdy man in his 40s with the practical manner of someone who'd handled countless family situations without judgment. His two crew members, younger guys in matching company shirts, were already unloading equipment with efficient movements. Mr. Rodriguez. Tony extended a work-roughened hand, ready to get started. I unlocked the front door with my spare key. The apartment silent and empty in a way that felt appropriate. We walked through room by room, Tony assessing furniture and personal items with professional eye. "This is going to take about 2 hours, maybe 3 with the electronics," he said, making notes on his clipboard. I pointed out what belonged to Emma and Kevin, which was everything. The expensive entertainment center I'd bought them last Christmas. Kevin's elaborate gaming setup with multiple screens. Emma's extensive shoe collection that filled 2 bedroom closets. The crew started with boxes from the bedrooms, wrapping and labeling with systematic care. I insisted on helping despite Tony's protests about liability. "I'm not that old," I told him, earning a grin from one of the younger workers. Soon I was carrying boxes labeled Emma's books and Kevin's sports cards, feeling a strange satisfaction at seeing their possessions being packed away so methodically. In their bedroom closet, I found photo albums from their honeymoon. Flipping through, I noticed I was completely absent from most pictures. Kevin's family prominent in every shot, while I appeared in maybe 2 photos, always pushed to the edges. I closed the album and handed it to Tony's crew. Room by room, we cleared out expensive items I'd forgotten I bought them. Designer purses, electronics, the leather furniture set I'd purchased with her first apartment. My back started to ache, but I pushed through, driven by a purpose I hadn't felt in years. By 10:30 in the morning, we finished our final walkthrough of the empty apartment. Rooms echoed differently now, morning sunlight streaming through bare windows onto vacant floors. I locked up and pocketed the keys, following the moving truck to Desert Storage, where I watched their belongings disappear into Unit 23C. I paid Tony in cash, adding a generous tip. "Hope everything works out for you, Mr. Rodriguez," he said with genuine warmth. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the Nasty Revenge channel, and share your thoughts about this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the video that appears next.